Ivor, you're not in the tornado warning, but you're pretty close. Waverly also in this as well. So please get to your safe place. What do we mean by that? Talk about it all the time. We are in your safe place essentially is the lowest level of your home, away from any windows, and a center area. That's what's helpful as well. If you got a hallway or a place that is away from your windows, you can go to the lowest floor. A lot of times that's an interior room, a bathroom, maybe a closet. For example, we have a bathroom on our ground floor that's kind of underneath the stairs, and it's away from the window, so centermost portion of your home. Always not a bad idea to cover your head. If you want to grab a pillow or a blanket or something in there, or honestly, best bet is if you got the WAVY app on your phone, you could just pop up this feed, or better yet, turn the TV volume up very, very loudly so you can at least just listen to us from a room over to get updates as you kind of wait this out. So that would be the centermost area of your home. Again, a hallway, a bathroom, just avoid the windows. If you're outside now or you're driving around, you got the alert on your phone, best bet is to park the car and stay inside of the car. Or if you're close to a building, a shop, park the car and get in there and get inside. But I don't recommend running around outside if you're inside of a tornado warning here. So this is getting a little cluttered here because we are close to the radar, as Don alluded to. This is near 460. This thunderstorm itself, with a little chance of rotation, is moving pretty quickly, around 50 miles an hour here. And I would say right now, it's kind of close to Cash's Corner, close to the Big Woods wildlife area there. If I scrub the area of rotation, that's what Don was asking about earlier, you can kind of track, we can kind of see between right about here, I'll point to it, you can kind of see right here, we kind of start, and then if we scrub, it kind of moves right about in this direction there. So kind of taking that little track there that is in the middle of the tornado warning, which again goes to 3:15. It'll be interesting to see if the National Weather Service extends this or gets basically a better view of what's going on out here. It's hard to really see any sort of rotation in the velocity scans from the radar.
It's pretty close to the Wakefield area.
It's like right on the radar, yeah.
In fact, could we go over to the I got a little bit different scrubber view here. If we could, you can watch to the side of me here. And what we've got going on, I'll take you back to, look at this, at 248, something like that. Move my big head so you can see 248. You'll notice the green area, this bright green area that you're seeing right here. Let's watch that. And the time is now 3:05. Let's watch that. It kind of disappears up into the clutter, but it's very, very close, or just to the east of Wakefield now. So Wakefield, you're kind of under the gun with this thing. And if I move on in and have a look at, there's another area to the southeast toward Corinth too that we should be watching as well. But if I move into some of these areas, we've got a secondary area, display area, to show you what's going on. If I go and measure some of these areas for wind, we are seeing 68-mile-an-hour winds going in out of that. And I'm looking at monitors off to the side of me to kind of confirm what's going on in my small computer screen. 45-mile-an-hour winds on the other side of it. So again, these 68 miles an hour, that's certainly strong enough to do damage just in 61 miles an hour, and that's just to the east of the Wakefield area. As that area, it's kind of re-emerging out of the clutter or within the clutter. So again, toward Booth Fork, anywhere along Southampton Road, it's lifting basically northeastward along some of these areas. You can see some of these roads out here. These are rural areas to the north of Fort 60, where you can see Goodrich Fork and Ellis Fork. You're kind of under the gun out of that, even though you are out of that tornado warned area. Again, we are seeing again the possibility that we could see again some really strong winds out of these particular areas. I'm going to go back to you, Steve.
Don, yeah, Adams Peanuts and Country Store, right on 460. I would say you're kind of in the bullseye. Well, yes. Maybe in the bullseye of this. This is between 606 and 604, that's kind of near the Piney Grove Preserve in Southampton County around the Big Woods Wildlife Area. So this is a rural area here, kind of from Cash's Corner. You could follow the 606 kind of goes this way, and then it connects to 604, and then it connects into 460. And then south on the southern side, we're looking at that's 628. So you have the kind of two state roads that we think the bulk of this is in between. But as Don was talking to, I mean, this is already kind of pushing closer to the Wakefield area near 460. So again, just a couple landmarks around there where I think this is the worst of this weather is near, is going to be around the country store, the Peanuts and Country Store, Adams there. That's kind of just south of Waverly. I wouldn't put Waverly totally in the clear, but I think the worst of this thunderstorm is just south of the Waverly area. You're still getting heavy rain. You're still getting a ton of wind out of this thing. But again, as it kind of crosses 460, we're talking about this right near the National Weather Service office where the radar is in Wakefield. The airstrip there, kind of around Piney Grove Preserve, again, Adams Peanut and Country Store there. That's going to follow Owens Grove Road northeast. And that's when Don was talking about some places upstream of this, more northeast. Dendron City up, a little town Dendron up that way. Dendron Swamp Natural Area and Preserve is up that way. Spring Hill Church. You got Princess Anne Contracting over there, Thornton Farm. You know, so there's some areas around here that upstream of this, kind of up towards the Dendron area, could have some of the worst of the weather advancing towards them. It looks, Don, as of now with the scan, this is hard to tell. It's kind of right over top of the radar here.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, and we're going to have a really difficult time finding the exact area of rotation.
For a time, yeah.
Yes, but I do want to zoom out because this thunderstorm itself is growing, and it is kind of lining up here, and we have a new warning that's been issued, a big severe thunderstorm warning. So this is not an additional tornado warning, but there's a big additional severe thunderstorm warning, stretches over the James River to James City County, York County, Poquoson, Hampton, Newport News, Isle of Wight, Smithfield, Suffolk, the rest of Southampton County, all the way down to even include parts of Portsmouth, northern parts of Suffolk as well. So you got this big thunderstorm coming in, and pretty much anywhere up and down this line of heavy rain here, there could be some significant wind with it or some damaging wind. These are big warnings, and a big severe thunderstorm warning like that, we use the vocabulary a blanket warning, where the National Weather Service says, hey, there's a threat that is large across a geographic area that we're going to put a majority of us under an approaching warning. So it's not necessarily like individual cells, so to speak. So this new warning has the ability, or the thunderstorm has the ability to produce some winds gusting, of course, over 58 miles an hour here. I'm going to get the latest from the National Weather Service on their vocabulary with it and the new, essentially, warning that's kind of just been issued here. So this is going to go until, let's see, this extends. This goes to 4 o'clock. So this is going to take us, not the tornado warning, the severe thunderstorm warning, going to take us all the way to our 4 o'clock newscast. So if you were to extrapolate and use the polygon or the warning as an example of, or to answer the question, when is this going to hit my house? Because that's what everyone wants to know. When is the storm going to hit my house? When's it coming my way? You can use the polygon as an example of that. So if the polygon goes and the warning goes until 4 p.m., the tail end of that is probably going to be around 4 o'clock. So that puts this thunderstorm right over the Metro of Hampton roads in just about an hour or so. That's right through our evening commute. So if you got plans to leave between now and 4 o'clock and you can get out early, I would do so, because it ain't raining all that much across most of the Metro, the Eastern Shore, most of the peninsulas, and northeastern North Carolina isn't raining all of that much here. Don, I have not seen an update from the National Weather Service on the tornado warning.
Let me double check for you here, too.
Let me double check. I haven't seen them if they're choosing to expire that. I mean, if I was just a poor gambler here, I would say that they are not going to expand this warning, because if the area of rotation we were talking about kind of over top of Wakefield or moving out of Wakefield, I would think it'd be outside of the polygon.
Yeah, it's radar indicated. It's been radar indicated rotation. I haven't seen an update yet on it, though.
And here's something interesting too, Don, because we got the BAM up here. So the tornado warning up until Wakefield till 3:15, a couple more minutes on that. I don't expect that to be expanded, but We talked about the new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued, that additional yellow polygon stretching out to Suffolk, Newport News, the James River, pretty much extending this thunderstorm.
The thing about this, too, is that the odd thing about this is everything's moving northeastward, but that particular new warning, the area of thunderstorms for that stretches from the Franklin area on northward. That's moving a little bit more eastward.
Sure. And now that I wonder, you're introducing two different types of directions, northeasterly and easterly, if that promotes the notching, or maybe these, you see kind of looking up in Isle of Wight right now. I'm looking at velocity right now, and there's kind of these like pockets and zones that maybe have some amplified wind. So there may be some rotation in there, what kind of looks like just south of Rushmere, southwest of Rushmere, east of 460,
right
near Raynor, near Comet,
Yeah,
Dell Crossing Road, kind of in between Raynor and Ellis Fork. Right here kind of looks like there could be a pocket of some really strong wind embedded in the thunderstorm. I'm going to ping this, Don. Let's ping it. Why don't we ping it? Ping it with some wind gusts. See what's going on. Let me pop this up, and I'll use just that and see if we got some wind gusts that are rather significant. Yeah, 45 miles an hour. Maybe some stuff a little more than that. Yeah, okay, all right. Showing some winds maybe upwards of 40 miles an hour.
Into the Franklin area, high population density right there, so reaching more people. One thing about this, too, is that this is, with everything else moving northeast, and this line moving east, we can classify that as a bit of a right mover. In other words, if you want to come back over to the chroma key area, and what you can see out of this is everything is moving northeastward. See, these are moving northeast. But then this one just expands eastward pretty rapidly. So it can be a bit of a right mover. So we'll want to watch that. Because when things are moving to the right of the general flow, that's what we call a right mover. So everything else moving northeast. This one's moving a little bit more east. So it's moving right to the general flow. So again, that can create some problems there. I'm going to give, Steve, you need a break? I'll give you a little bit of a break.
The only update I got to provide you is that the National Weather Service, they did expire that tornado warning. So in 10 seconds, we'll likely see that warning go to expire. Since that went to
there is that, until 3:15, and we're at 3:14
and
right now.
I would think that just east of Wakefield, Don, that's where that there's a couple flashes of lightning in between Wakefield and Rushmere right there. I would say that might be the zone that they were kind of focusing on, because a couple flashes of lightning there and maybe a little pocket of some stronger wind.
Okay, but I'm going to switch over to storm relative velocity here and have a look at what's going on with all of this. I'm going to go back an hour in time and look at how that progressed on through to the east of the Wakefield area, but it tended to fall apart and kind of splay apart. But Steve was mentioning this area again toward Ponds, Raynor, Comet, east of Sycamore Crossroads. These particular areas do look a little bit nasty. We'll want to watch in terms of what goes on for those as we move along down this line of thunderstorms right on into here. And there's another little area toward Carsville that's got a little bit of an indentation in it, a little bit of a hitch to get along there. So again, along this line, we could see some particular problems out of that. Let this update, and again, you can see what's going on with these particular areas. To the west of Windsor, you're going to get Sauk, Colossi, Franklin. You just got hit by a good solid area of rainfall there. And Unity, you got hit by a good solid area of rainfall. A little bit more moderate now. We move on to the north, and again, you can see toward Dell Crossroads, Comet, which was up into western Isle of Wight County. We're seeing some of this. We're getting on up into, once we get into Dell Crossroads, Surrey High School. And Steve, you talked about this at noon, where lots of kids are getting out of school at some of these times as well, as this moves eastward now at about 25 miles an hour. The eastward progression is a little bit trickier to predict in terms of what this thing is going to be doing, but let's do that, and let's do that at 25 miles an hour and see how we, I'm going to change this. Hang on 1 second.
Go ahead, Don.
There we go. We'll take this at 25 miles an hour and move it generally to the east-northeast and see how we do with time of arrival into some of these areas for kids getting out of school. It'll be late enough, I think, for Great Bridge and Lansdowne and some of these areas. Again, we'll be fine. I'll get out of the way so you can see some of these areas. Again, this will be fine for a lot of these areas, Great Bridge and Lansdowne and Norfolk, 4:30, except if kids are in extracurricular activities. But Windsor coming up at 3:25, Smithfield, some of these areas, again, as that moves eastward. Steve, you have more?
Yeah, I'm just going to do a reset here to widen out the view here. Really, we're only focusing on this one thunderstorm zone Don was talking about with the severe thunderstorm warning, again, going to about 4 o'clock. And as Don was alluding to, the timing of that, the edge of the polygon kind of puts it right over top Metro, Hampton, York, Poquoson, Newport News, Portsmouth, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, kind of right around that 4 o'clock time frame, maybe a little bit after here. But if we look elsewhere, let's do a little bit. You could be a meteorologist with me. Let's do a little bit of analysis. To the north, we have a lot of just general rainfall. Heavy rain, yeah, some strong wind, but the thunderstorm activity that was alive very well to our north earlier today, it's kind of gotten gobbled up and all washed out. So looks more likely that there'll be some heavy rain, maybe some strong wind for the middle peninsula, northern neck, and the eastern shore as we go throughout the day. Not saying you guys are in the all clear by any means. No, there's going to be some strong stuff headed your way, but I think we could focus our attention toward more of the stronger stuff across the south side and then eventually across northeastern North Carolina, because this stuff looks real ragged all down here. Look, we could connect the dots from the zone Don was just dissecting earlier to about the state line. There's a little bit of a break, meaning that there isn't much connecting the two, and then you get into this zone here, and there are just a plethora of these nasty thunderstorms with a lot of lightning on them. No signs of any significant rotation here. I mean, I have a plethora of the severe thunderstorm warnings, but this zone, of course, going to trek to the east for us across eastern and northeastern North Carolina here. So we're going to have to watch that one closely, and that's going to be a little bit later, maybe towards that 6 o'clock time frame, maybe closer to 5, 6, 7 o'clock with some of those thunderstorms down this way. You can see them in parts of southeastern North Carolina here. A lot of lightning in here as well. We're going to see how that kind of gobbles up some of the warmth that's been lingering around eastern and northeastern North Carolina here. Also, Don and I, we talked about this earlier. Don, I mentioned this earlier. We're interesting to see the breeze today, the wind today has been gusting over 40 miles an hour easily all day today.
51 in Norfolk.
51. I saw 52 miles an hour as well around the afternoon. And that's been generally out of the south, but there has been components of it that have been out of the southeast. And this time of year, because it's only, what, March 4th, 5th, or 6th? 5th.
Yeah.
The water is very, very cold. You still need your 4-3 wetsuit with a hood and booties. It's cold in the Chesapeake Bay. So Don and I are kind of questioning. We're curious. Chatted with Jeremy about this earlier today. If any bit of that onshore flow or that southeasterly breeze coming off the cold water, how does that play a role in any of this? Is that going to help maybe slow down some of these storms? Is that going to help put a lid on them? You know, it's kind of a question that we're kind of waiting to see unfold here. And right now, if I were to look at this this scan here from the radar, this line of thunderstorms is looking a little ragged. Yeah, we have this one zone moving into Isle of Wight.
But even that is looking a little bit more ragged.
Now to Suffolk, but now it's kind of looking a little bit more ragged. Some of the rain is becoming a bit more spread out. So it's going to be interesting to see if that kind of, if the breeze today, the wind we had today before these thunderstorms moved in, maybe put a lid on these things. So that's a kind of question we're going off right now. We're gonna wrap things up here a little bit. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning goes to about 4 p.m. here. It has the capability of producing some damaging wind. This is going to move into Suffolk, Smithfield, and Isle of Wight, Surrey, Sussex, the peninsula. And by the time we go on news at 4 o'clock here with our 4 o'clock newscast, we'll be talking about these thunderstorms moving into the region here. So we'll wrap up. We'll send you guys back to regularly scheduled programming, and we'll cut back in as conditions warrant. Up towards parts of the Middle Peninsula here as well. Saluda out towards Matthews and Gloucester. You're dealing with some heavy rain right now and significant winds gusting over 50, maybe over 60 miles an hour. This is going to go across the Chesapeake Bay and could eventually end up across the eastern shore closer to maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock or so. This stuff is moving really, really quick though. Let's zoom back in to the main thunderstorm activity we're focusing on across the south side, across the metro here, with some significant wind potential out of this. Now, it doesn't look as organized as it once was as it was entering town here. So that's why the polygon, the severe thunderstorm warning, up until about 4:30 is kind of drawn in a very obscure way. It includes kind of Buckrow Beach and Hampton, where you can maybe see some winds over 60 miles an hour. HRBT, going to see some winds gusting maybe over 60. We could see that headed right towards Naval Station Norfolk, Little Creek, downtown Norfolk as well, northern parts of Norfolk and northern parts of Virginia Beach here, as well as the Greenbrier area and parts of Chesapeake, where Chesapeake and VB kind of set up, northern parts of Chesapeake and Portsmouth, downtown Portsmouth, likely dealing with the biggest of the wind as we speak here, maybe some winds gusting over 50, 60 miles an hour. I've seen only a couple flashes of lightning here, so we're not dealing with maybe this thing intensifying vertically or rotating, so I'm not too concerned with a chance of any sort of tornadic activity here, but it's just these winds that are really kicking into gear, Don.
Yeah, and one thing about this too, what we've got going on as well, is you note how strong this was. Really, really nasty looking for a time as it moved on eastward. It tends to have weakened. It's not looking as strong, but it's still got a lot of wind with it, so it's a leftover wind. One other thing that I want to point out on here, and Steve and I noticed this not that long ago, is that there's a meso low. There was some circulation that was going on right into the Williamsburg area. There's a tornado warning on toward the Wakefield area as it moved on through. But then we noticed again that there was a definite circulation going on for a time that was on into the Wakefield area and the Williamsburg area as well. So around 3:20 or so, I'll move through these a little bit so you can see. Maybe you can see a little bit better on this one. Yeah, you can. This particular area, right there, that moving on through. It's out over Mobjack Bay right now and headed for the eastern shore, headed for areas north of Melfa. That's the original area for which there was a tornado warning. So again, this is what's called a meso low, kind of a medium or small size low pressure area that spawned a lot of wind. We've got some wind reports, for example, into the Williamsburg area. And that was from around 3:30 to show you that this goes back, by the way, to 8 o'clock this morning, and look at everything advancing eastward. I'm going to put it to now and show you what's going on, the latest. Now, we're still getting wind reports coming on in toward the Wakefield area, where we did have a tornado warning into that region for a while. Let's see what we got for damage there. 52-mile-an-hour winds out of an ASOS station at the airport there. ASOS is a viewing platform there. And we'll move on up toward the Williamsburg area, and around 3:30 or so, we had some strong winds there. As that, what I mentioned as a meso low, moving on through, that was at 3:25. Tree damage that was at that time estimated to the southwest of Williamsburg, and we had also some wind gusts to 62 miles or 56 miles an hour on the weather sensor on top of the James City County Recreation Center, and that time is estimated at around 3:30 as well. So these are packing a little bit of a punch towards Centerville. Tree down across the road, blocking traffic. Time is estimated at 3:27 as well. So these storms certainly have the potential to be creating some problems. And again, that severe thunderstorm warning for that area that I showed you that does have a broader circulation. It's called a meso low. It's not a tiny circulation like what you'd find in, for example, a tornado or a thunderstorm that would have that kind of circulation. Now, we still have some strong thunderstorms going on that line farther to the south, and you can see it from Ahoskie on to west of Windsor, North Carolina, in Bertie County, North Carolina. That is moving eastward and northeastward, and that could still move through parts of eastern North Carolina, so we'll have to watch for that coming up as well. But here's near the Hampton Roads area. And again, you can see these warnings in effect for Gloucester, James City, King and Queen, Middlesex, New Kent counties until 4:15 this afternoon. Farther to the south, for the south side, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, and Virginia Beach. We're going to stop motion on this and just give you an idea of what's going on. Looking for any kind of wind that we might be able to see within this, and looking at what's called a velocity product. Not seeing anything huge. Probably most wind is out near the water or out over the water right now. And again, you can see some of these areas over 50 miles an hour. Steve Fundera, I'm going to go back to you, and we're going to pitch to the 4 o'clock newscast, and we'll have a lot more information for you. Stay with us.
Now from the station on your side, you're watching WAVY News 10.
We're getting right to the weather because storms are currently impacting our area. Thanks for watching. I'm Ashley Knight.
And I'm Regina Mobley. Let's take a look outside right now at Tower Cam 10. You can see the rain falling down. Meteorologist Steve Fundero is in the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center with the latest.
Yeah, Regina and Ashley here. We got these thunderstorms moving into the region here. They are becoming a little bit more ragged, as we just kind of were talking about, but still potentially producing some damaging wind. A couple warnings up towards the Middle Peninsula and the Northern Neck, and we have the one severe thunderstorm warning across the metro right now. I've seen some winds gusting over 40, over 50 miles an hour. That still is a potential here, but notice how there isn't much of that abrupt line. If we go back about the hour here, you see that thunderstorm come in as a force of a line, so to speak, and then it kind of stretches out and expands. Nonetheless, heavy rain across the majority of the metro and the south side with some significant winds gusting over 40, maybe even over 50 miles an hour here. So the north end of Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Portsmouth getting slammed right now with some of this potential damaging wind here. Other severe thunderstorm warning to include Ahoskie, Reynoldson out towards Hertford and Gates counties here. This has some lightning, and this is more of a petite and confined zone of heavy rain, so there could be additional rounds of damaging wind entering parts of Ahoskie, Gates County here. Just some general moderate to occasionally heavy rainfall across northeastern North Carolina. Not so much on the eastern shore right now, although Cape Charles is going to get slammed with some heavy rain and some strong wind coming off of the bay. That's where that additional severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued there. And then up towards the Middle Peninsula and the Northern Neck, heavy rain and the potential of some damaging wind. When is all this going to end? Really in the next 2 hours. Really, it's a very, very tight window. It's going to be moving out pretty quickly as we head into the region tonight. As this kind of moves out offshore, the cold front kicks out, and we do have some clearing skies tonight. And tomorrow does remain a little breezy, drier, temperatures in the 50s. As we head into the weekend, it does look a little bit better as well. Could have our temperatures around 60 by Saturday. We'll have more updates on your radar, those storms moving into the region here in full forecast in just a few.
All right, thank you, Steve. With severe weather, there's always the chance we could lose power.
That's right. That is why Dominion Energy says its crews worked hard to get ahead of this storm. 10 on your side's Karina Garcia spoke with officials today about preparations. Karina.
Hey, Ashley and Regina, we've been seeing some pretty steady rain and some pretty strong winds here in Norfolk and across Hampton Roads. And while conditions are messy, Dominion Energy reminds us that today has been fairly routine for Hampton Roads, nothing too out of the ordinary. Still, they say that everyone needs to stay safe and be mindful of downed power lines and tree branches, which can be a serious hazard in this weather. Crews remain on standby, ready to respond to any new outages as the storm continues.
When wind like this seems to move through our territory, one of the more common things we run across is down wires. We ask that you please stay away from the down wires. Call 911, call 866-DOM-HELP. We will have some sort of first responder that will respond and be there in a timely manner to make it safe to the public. They're going to be around the clock.
Now, if you do lose power, make sure you have the Dominion Energy app. That's the best way to track the time of restoration and all the latest updates that Dominion needs to get to you. Reporting in downtown Norfolk, Karina Garcia, 10 on your side.
Now, because of the severe weather, the Virginia Beach Police announced it was temporarily taking down the outdoor memorial to officers Christopher Reese and Cameron Gervin. The department says the memorial will be restored when the weather improves. It will then remain in place until March 11th. The police department is working to create a permanent tribute to the fallen officers.
You can get the latest forecast for your area on the free WAVY weather app. Just scan the QR code on your screen to download it.
You can also track storms with Super Doppler 10 interactive radar and read weather blogs from our team of meteorologists. Other news.